So Trump, so Trump, the Crown Prince paid Jared a portfolio of $1 billion. Uh, because Trump was representing through his administration Rex Tillerson and Exxon board members while Trump was president, in trying to get Russia with Exxon Mobil Russian Arctic deals going on. So when Trump stepped down as the president, he received two loans from two Russian banks, or two loans individually. Each loan was worth $8 million. So after he stepped down as president of America, or doing, because I'm not sure of the time frame as far as the exact date, but it was reported in the news that in MSNBC News, with Rachel Maddow, I think, that there was two Russian loans made to Trump. Each loan was $8 million. And so you got to understand, Trump is using the fossil fuel interest deals of America, particularly during his first term. It was Exxon, between Carl Icahn Industries, gas refinery industries, and Rex Tillerson stepping down as CEO to work as state secretary under the Trump administration to wheel and deal for the board members of Exxon into the Russian Arctic. So, since Saudi Arabia controlled OPEC and America uses the greenback petrodollar to float gasoline throughout the world when it comes to trading barrels of oil in American greenbacks, that's why the Crown Prince, depending on how backroom deals that Trump did with the Crown Prince, uh, through America's interest of fossil fuel interest deals, mainly Exxon board members, uh, they must have did a deal that it was worth the effort of the Crown Prince to invest $1 billion into Trump's real estate holdings through a shell company that Jared manages. So you got to understand, Trump does his art of the deal is to be a snake oil con artist, peddling American fossil fuel throughout the world, and in turn, these government officials and their private banking systems launders money in through Trump's real estates. So since OPEC is managed by the Crown Prince, Trump must have did a backroom deal while he was president, uh, that it was worth the Crown Prince laundering $1 billion of portfolio through shell companies through Jared into Trump's real estate holdings. The same thing with the banks of Russia. Trump says there's no Russian collusion, but from what I've seen on the report, when Trump stepped down as president, Russia banks approved two loans for $8 million apiece for two financial loans. And so you got to understand, Trump wanted a Moscow Tower built. Uh, and Trump was trying to bridge Rex Tillerson and Exxon board members back into the Russian Arctic, along with BP and Farage. Remember the Brexit deal with Farage and all that? I'm pretty sure Farage was a lobbyist for BP, along with Exxon. They wanted to divvy up the Russian Arctic to flood Western European nations with Russian Arctic energy, and to flood pipelines into India and China. And so when Putin invaded Ukraine for the second time, they, like fleas jumping off of a dog. You had Exxon jumping off of the Russian Arctic along with BP, like fleas. But in reality, Trump was connecting the dots, because his true oligarchs in America was Carl Icahn and Rex Tillerson at the time. But when the FBI and Robert Mueller started investigating the Russian collusion, they got scared that it would connect the fossil fuel interest deals of Rex Tillerson as state secretary in the Russian Arctic. So Rex Tillerson faked the funk that he was in getting along with Trump, and resigned, because in reality, he didn't want to be implicated in with Trump business racketeering to get Exxon back into the Russian Arctic. So Rex Tillerson played dumb and played like they were having a fallout and they didn't agree, and that's Trump uh, fired him from his administration as a state secretary, which is, if you are shrewd, you can read in between the lines and realize that they were afraid. Carl Icahn and Rex Tillerson was afraid of being indicted or implicated in business racketeering because Carl Icahn paid for play for the Taj Mahal just to get Trump to corporate invert money to prop up their stock shares for the acquisitions in the fossil fuel interests of Carl Icahn Industries, of gas refinery businesses. And the same for Rex Tillerson. The only reason he stepped down as CEO from Exxon board member, a CEO of that company, is because between Carl Icahn and Rex Tillerson, they were both ingratiating themselves with Trump to use Trump as a vessel to flow the flow of lucrative oil deals throughout the world. But mainly, Carl Icahn wanted to concentrate on the pipelines, the Keystone Pipeline and the Alaskan Pipeline, and his gas refinery, American gas refinery infrastructures. But Rex Tillerson wanted to ingratiate himself, Carl Icahn wanted to ingratiate himself with Rex Tillerson, Exxon board members. So between Carl Icahn and Rex Tillerson, they colluded to prop up Trump for 2016 to make him win the election. And so Trump knew that his handlers, his puppet handlers or his oligarchs, basically Carl Icahn bought Taj Mahal pay for play scheme to ingratiate himself with Trump as the White House Economical Counsel to corporate invert money into Carl Icahn gas refinery business and to slash regulations that impeded him with these particular pipelines. And the same with Rex Tillerson. He was trying to get the Exxon back into the Russian Arctic, which he did under the Trump administration, along with BP. So, when Trump says there's no Russian collusion, there's no Russian collusion, he's lying through his teeth. Anybody could tell in hindsight what the hell was going on. I can tell before because I'm shrewd with politics, so I can tell in real time what politicians are up to and what they're doing in real time. But in hindsight, every normal citizen in America and historians would see it for what it is. And Trump is a snake oil remedy con artist. And between him and Rex Tillerson and Carl Icahn, they business racketeered and embezzled the White House with get-rich schemes for laundering their industries and using the Oval Office to do it, and laundering money into Trump real estate to use him as a snake oil con artist to bridge these the government into making their industries a windfall profits as far as Rex Tillerson and Carl Icahn was concerned. And Trump was colluding with Russia, like I said, on behalf of Exxon and BP. So I'm wondering if Farage had any lobbyist interest in BP, because Farage and Trump are tied at the hip sometimes with Brexit, and it was funny that BP and Exxon was hip to hip in the Russian Arctic before the second invasion of Ukraine. So, and also you gotta also think Texaco and Exxon are located in Texas. So when it comes to Carl Icahn gas refinery plants and the pipelines, you can start to see how intricate this type of petrodollar in America turning a blind eye to Trump's corruption and embezzling the White House for business racketeering for the love of fossil fuel interest deals that are laundering money into his real estate businesses. To this day, you got the FBI that doesn't want to acknowledge it because they're too afraid of holding Trump accountable. And they don't want to panic the American oil markets and have the biggest companies have a panic on Wall Street, let alone undermine the petrodollar currency. So they turn a blind eye to this embezzlement and making the White House into a get-rich Ponzi scheme for these fucking, excuse me, I apologize, but for these scoundrels of fossil fuel oligarchs that are laundering, using Trump as a vessel to bridge their deals, oil deals, and then in return they launder money into Trump real estate. And when Trump was vetting out the Mueller report, you can best rest assured that there was Russian collusion between Exxon and Trump in the Russian Arctic. And so when Trump stepped down as president, there was two loans from Russia banks. There was two loans. Each loan was $8 million. And in 2015, 2016, Trump, while he was plotting to get it back into the Russian Arctic with Rex Tillerson, he wanted to get a Moscow tower built out of it. And so Trump is a scoundrel weasel of a businessman. He's out to launder his money for the love of fossil fuel lobbying, because they're the only ones that know how to launder money into his real estate, because they're close proximities between these entities that Trump has built since 2016 of the fossil fuel interest deals of special interest companies that are using Trump to have windfall profits in the oil industries. And Putin used Trump to trip up Zelensky in Ukraine before he invaded Ukraine for the second time. So Putin leaked out to Trump that Zelensky had information on Hunter Biden, which made Giuliani go to Ukraine and blackmail Zelensky to turn over the evidence on Hunter Biden, and they fired the American Ukrainian ambassador. But it was Putin lying and whispering into Trump's ear in order to weaken Zelensky, because Putin knew he was going to invade Ukraine, but he was using Trump to weaken Zelensky by lying to Trump and telling Trump that Zelensky had dirt on Hunter Biden. And so Trump was blackmailing Zelensky and refusing to send Zelensky before the second invasion took place. Trump was refusing. He was blackmailing Zelensky and telling Zelensky that if he didn't find and turn over the dirt on Hunter Biden, that he would not be willing to send military arms to Zelensky, that he will hold up military aid. And so if Zelensky didn't do him the favor of turning over the dirt on his political opponent. So it was Putin that lied to Trump and misled Trump into believing that Zelensky had evidence on Hunter Biden or President Biden. And Putin was doing that as a counterintelligence agent to weaken Zelensky in Ukraine to prepare for his second invasion, but he used Trump as compromise to compromise Zelensky and the Ukrainian army by lying into Trump. And Trump is a doofus. He's an idiot. He's like Donald. He's Daffy Duck and Pluto, and like he's a cartoon character. Trump is. He doesn't have the wits to understand and read the intents of geopolitical strategies, let alone to understand when he's being compromised by an adversary, savvy KGB officer like Putin. So during that time, when the NSA was listening into the calls of Trump blackmailing Zelensky, that's when the investigation took place in Congress of the phone call that Trump did with Zelensky. But Trump is an idiot. He doesn't realize when he's being used as a putz, as an idiot, as a puppet. And that's what Putin was using Trump for, to weaken Zelensky, to deny Zelensky military aid, and in order for Putin to plot and strategize for his invasion on Ukraine for the second time. So this Trump fiasco with Zelensky took place before the second invasion. And it was compromise of Putin compromising Trump, the idiot that Trump is. He fell for it. While Giuliani was over there firing the American ambassador with two oil energy partners of his, blackmailing Zelensky to find dirt on Hunter Biden, or for Trump to win the 2020 by thinking that Zelensky was going to offer him tangible, uh, what Trump thought it was tangible, gossiping, scandalous issues that he was going to win the election by outing dirt on Biden and his son. But in reality, it was Putin that was lying and using Trump like a buffoon, like like a idiot, a numbskull that didn't know when he was doing the bidding of Putin, undermining and preparing Ukraine for the second invasion by Putin. So Trump served Putin's interests like the putz that he is, the gullible fuck that he is, to weaken and prepare Ukraine for the second invasion without Trump being understanding the situation, without him knowing that he's being suckered into entrapping Zelensky in Ukraine and hurling them captive and undermining them and softening them up for Putin to take advantage of it and fully invade Ukraine. And he was using Trump for that as compromise. So when Trump got impeached for that, he should have been prosecuted for it. Not to mention Trump's business racketeering of Exxon in the Russian Arctic along with BP. Like Putin keeps on bending Trump over an oil barrel and sticking all of the dildos, where fossil fuel is sequestered, if you get what I'm saying with my blunt talk. In other words, Putin always gets the advantage over Trump. Trump is a dim-witted that he doesn't realize. He doesn't have fortitude to see too far into the future, let alone know when he's being taken suckered of by a savvy leader like Putin. The same with China. Remember, Giuliani and Putin and Trump said, "Oh, Hunter Biden had deals with China," and Trump is busy chasing his tail around with Giuliani looking like an idiot while he's compromising and falling into Putin's strategies. Anyway, after Trump stepped down from the White House as president, he got two loans, bank loans from Russia, $8 million apiece. So either Trump is dim-witted, or he's a corrupt official that he doesn't care what he compromises for the love of money to invest into his real estate. I think he's just a person that's willing to sell out the government for the love of money, for the love of his grandeur, and for the love of his brand, of his real estate, that these fossil fuel interests can't get enough of laundering money into his real estate holdings. Why do you think OPEC, the Crown Prince, gave Jared a portfolio of $1 billion to manage? It's because these shell companies will incrementally start laundering money into Trump's real estate. Because OPEC serves the interests, along with American Greenback, the biggest oil companies in America, Rex Tillerson, at the time, Exxon board members in the Russian Arctic. And like I said, Car Icon gas refinery plants, his pipelines and everything that feeds energy and fuels into his refinery processing plants. Trump is just out there making all of the deals of fossil fuels. And in return, these companies and these leaders are laundering money into Trump's real estate. For Trump to say that there was no Russian collusion, that there was no quid pro quo in Ukraine, and that there was no Russian collusion, he's lying through his teeth. And the FBI and the CIA knows it, but they're too scared to charge Trump with his illegality because they think that they will panic the American fossil fuel industries by undermining the petrodollar. So they want to sweep it underneath the rug. That's to show you how corrupt capitalism run amok when it comes to this government. But they want to prosecute him for pussy grabbing with Stormy Daniels. The least of the crimes that he should be charged with. Never mind January 6th, huh? But the government just wants to, for the most minute, they want to just, hey, pussy grabbing. Let's slap him on his wrist. If we had to give him a misdemeanor for eating a ham sandwich, let's give him a misdemeanor for eating a ham sandwich. As far as the Justice Department. But the real crimes, they're too afraid to hold him accountable. And I'm tired of it. I'm tired, as a whistleblower, to just let this shit keep on running rampant in this country, with capitalism run amok and the corruptness of bipartisanly of both parties in the House and in the Senate, turning a blind eye to Trump's business embezzlement of the fossil fuel business racketeering that's using Trump, and Trump is using them to launder money into his real estate. Not only did it compromise Ukraine, but Putin bent Trump over an oil barrel and stuck a butt plug and a dildo, like Marjorie Taylor Greene says, Target, all of the dildos up Trump's ass. That's what Putin did from the first day to the last day when it comes to Trump. And the FBI and the CIA, they all know that Trump is a sucker for Putin. Just as long as Trump is dim-witted in a way, but he's still greedy that he will sell his own mother out, like Rockefeller's father, for the love of money. As a drifter, snake oil con artist. But I blame the government for letting Trump metastasize into a monster. I blame the government. Because if they would have nipped it in the bud when it came to the Russian collusion investigation, Trump would have been already in jail. We would have never experienced, Ukraine would have never been undermined. They would have been prepared to defend themselves before the second invasion took place. January 6th would have never happened. Look it. They almost blew up Kamala Harris with 2 pipe bombs because of Trump on January 6th. They almost hanged Mike Pence. They almost killed Nancy Pelosi's husband with a hammer crushing into his skull. And to this day, Trump is like, we need to take this government back by force. Or Steve Bannon at CPAC saying, oh, we're in civil war. I have no doubt, we're in war. The same dickhead Steve Bannon saying he got caught with this Chinese oligarch that's a swindler. He was dining and whining in his yacht and going to parties with this Chinese embezzler when he was milking the Build a Wall Foundation or Build a Wall Organization charity. Steve Bannon was saying, oh, Trump is going to lose the elections, but around midnight he's going to come out and say he won. And then we're going to crown him king of the republic. Steve Bannon got caught saying basically that in his opinion Trump is going to lose, but he's going to come out and say that he won anyway. And sarcastically he said that we're going to crown him king of the republic. And to this day Trump is saying, I won the elections in 2020. And we're going to take this government back in 2024. Like, I blame the Justice Department and I blame the narrow-minded, closed, pacifist attitudes of bipartisanly of both parties that let Trump racketeer in Russia and compromise this nation. And to this day, Trump is like a runaway car wreck that's about to jump off the cliff when it comes to our national union. I was the only one that was connecting the dots in the Russian Arctic when everybody was ignoring it, including the FBI, the CIA, because they're too scared of capitalism run amok that they don't want to undermine the petrodollar. Ooh, we don't want to panic the markets, let alone devaluate our currency by accusing that the president is business racketeering in the fossil fuel interest that will panic and collapse the oil markets of America. So for that, let's ignore it. That's what was being talked about behind closed doors with politicians bipartisanly in the Senate and in the Congress and in the Justice Department. And to this day, this fucking corrupt government is too afraid to speak truth to words. So fuck you all bipartisanly.